Hey YouTube, David here. All right, we're gonna make a video tonight. Um, I'm gonna call this "Where is the Ark of God?" I did, I did make that on one of the other videos. Toward the end of the video, I did it just to see if people were actually watching the video. And yeah, I apologize, there was some messed up on the audio on that, but I even told, I said I was gonna go in and fix that audio, but not enough people watch my videos anyway, and I don't have it in me anymore to want to do this. And I've been rejected so long that I've told you in previous videos, I'm growing numb to it, and it's getting to the point. It's like, why bother? Nobody seems to care anyway. But toward the end of that one video I did, I pointed someone out, I pointed something out, and I asked if y'all wanted me to show you where the Ark of the God was. I asked someone to type 777 in there, and they did. And I did it at the end of the video. So, and I did it to what? Because I wanted to see if anybody was going to watch the videos to the end. And this particular person watched the video to the end, and he typed 777 in the comments. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. And I know I've been procrastinating about it, and I've been talking to the father about it. It's just, I knew I need to get out here and make this video. I mean, yes, I'm trying to learn Cebuano and everything because of my upcoming trip and so forth. But I just, I don't know. I, I don't see how people can't see what I can see, or even start to even want to see what I can see. I mean, I know what's getting ready to happen. I know I mean, it's just, oh my gosh. But I mean, I admit, today I had a conversation. I was doing my laundry here at truck stop and had a conversation with a man. And when this conversation first, I tell you all in the books, I tell you all in previous videos, if you're going to talk, if you and I are ever going to meet face to face, and if we're going to talk, if for more than 5 minutes, I'm bringing the Father into the conversation. Well, lo and behold, that's what I did today. And when our conversation started out, this guy come out saying he was an atheist, you know, and I'll talk to anybody. All right. This does not discourage me if you tell me you're an atheist. But within first 5, 10 minutes after we start talking, he's talking about atheists. I mean, I already I told him flat out. I says, you're not an atheist. You just don't like what people teach you about what they think the Bible is actually saying, which doesn't agree with what you understand. So and I told him, I says, you actually you tell people you're an atheist so you don't have to talk about it. Well, he kind of like, nah, no, he don't really deny that. He kind of denied that. But yet then when we're sitting there talking, he's read the Bible 3 or 4 times. He knows quite a bit about the Bible. But then when we're talking, he's talking about how the churches, they do all this baloney, put it in good terms. And it's all about the money. It's all about the money. Go to church, donate, make the pastor standing up there in front of the pulpit telling you lies, give him all your money that he doesn't have to pay any taxes on, so he can go out and buy a brand new car, live in this flipping beautiful, big, beautiful house while you starve, while you don't have the money to actually help anyone else out. That 10%, yeah, he takes about 10% of what you give him and he uses that to help others. So you're not really helping others out. This is why it tells us in the book of Proverbs, do not give to the rich. Yeah, I don't remember exactly how it's worded, but all these donate right now. All these truck stops going around asking if you want to donate, round up whatever you're doing. Even Walmart's doing it. If you want to round up whatever to donate, I don't do none of that. because I'm not donating to them. I'm donating to the franchise that's running the donation. Whatever, however you want to say it. Like this truck stop in here, they asked me if I wanted to round up when I purchased something in there earlier. They asked me if I wanted to round my price up to give it to the food bank. That's what it was. And I told them no. And here's why. Because let's just say I give $5 to them to give to the food bank. They keep about $4.20 of it. I just donated it to them. Food bank making 80 cents. But if I see you on the streets and you need some help from me, when I give you help, you get 100% of that money. Or 100% of whatever I give you to help you out. I do not give to the rich because the scripture says do not give to the rich. But anyway, I got off topic. But this guy and I were sitting here talking, and as we're talking, he's talking about he believes more. He believes in God, but he doesn't believe what the churches teach. And that's why he called himself an atheist. He's not an atheist. He's more of well, I teach everybody in the books. Get out of the church. The churches teach us to judge one another. They teach us to condemn one another. They teach us to look down on others. They teach us to love ourselves or others more than others. They teach us that we deserve to be loved by God more than others do. They teach us that God loves us more than others do. No, we are all part of the one Son of God. I don't know why my website's not refreshing. I'll just refresh it here. I'm on this mobile and it's running kind of slow. No, sure. Now you're going to do this. It wasn't doing that earlier. I'll just see if I can fire up another one. Oh, oops. Well, shucky don't hurt. I don't know what's going on. There's go. Like I said, I got this mobile data and it's running slow. Anyway, this guy brought up some good things, and we had a good. Well, he was doing his laundry, I was doing my laundry, and this guy come up here to do some work, and he worked with the guy, and the work wound up being a lot shorter than what it was expected. Now he's living in a tent out here, you know, but he's good spirited, and you know, when I first he was already doing his laundry when I put my clothes in the washer. Oh, he's like, "Oh man, you need some quarters." No, I don't need no quarters. But even though he's living in a tent, and I'm in Montana, okay, I mean the weather up here is getting ready to turn to the worst. This guy's in good spirits about it. He's living in a tent, and he doesn't expect handouts. I mean, he just to me, I don't know. I appreciated being able to conversate with someone like that, even though when the conversation started out, he said he was an atheist. When it come to find out, he's not an atheist. He's an atheist toward of what the churches teach. And as I tell you all in the books, the Father kicked me out of the church right after I was baptized with water in 2011. He out. And I haven't been in a man-made church since then because that's the only way the Father's going to teach you. I think I showed you that in the scriptures. You go to a church with the multitude to keep what people call the holy day. Well, he's going to get quiet in you because you're listening to what man is saying. You're not listening to what he is saying in the King James Bible. That's what these books all do for you all. They bring you all an understanding of our Father, who he is, what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. And yes, I know I'm rambling on, but there's a few things I want to talk about tonight that it's not going to do with the Ark of God. And I'm kind of doing that again. We're going to do that toward toward the end of it, I want to talk about a little bit about what's going on in the world right now. You know, because no, I don't listen to mainstream news because you know what? You're going to hear Jesus cuss. They're full of shit. They'll lie to you just as quicker than they can look at you. They are only going to tell you what they want you to hear. They're not going to tell you the truth. Okay, just like this stuff they're talking about you. Well, I think I got that one of the things that we're going to go over. But they're talking about Ukraine is so much better than Russia. No, they're not. Russia is stronger. Their military, yeah, I think I watched a video the other day. They got like now they're overtaking 9 regions when they only started overtaking like 2 or 3 regions. And Russia's doing this all for good reasons. They're only trying to protect their own country. You know what Russia's doing? No different than when a business puts up a fence around their business, or you put up a fence around your house. Why do you do that? Because you don't want people intruding on your area. That's what Russia's trying to do. They're trying to protect their area. But the mainstream news needs news to tell you Russia's being so mean. No, Russia's not. Russia has always stipulated what they wanted, what that they don't want NATO in Ukraine. They won't have it. They're not going to allow NATO or Ukraine to set up military bases along them lines that they're combating right now, and they're slowly gaining ground on the Ukrainians. Even after this war's been going on for almost 4 years, they're still gaining ground. Ukrainians are getting weaker and weaker by the day. Okay. Now, I didn't pull this up tonight. The other day, I heard on the mainstream. Well, I heard it. I wasn't listening to mainstream, but this one guy was listening to mainstream news. But I guess now Europe is calling all 18-year-olds to go in to be tested for the military because they're getting ready for World War III. And don't mind me. That's a weird concoction I make up at night before I go to bed. Kind of helps me sleep. uh, but anyway, um, let's see here. I'm just going to go ahead and what I got listed here first. Netanyahu. Now, I brought this up in the little short video that I made about them putting charges up on Netanyahu. Turkey is not a small country. Turkey has quite a pull when it comes to this. Okay, Netanyahu's got arrest warrants out for him for the genocide. And I don't care what you all say. I am not for the crap that Netanyahu has been doing. All those people that he's been killing in Palestine, he's killed what? I can't remember the latest numbers, like 70,000 people. I don't know. It's quite a few people. A lot of those women and children that have nothing to do with the military. A lot of people that have been killed that have nothing to do with Hamas, is it? Uh, but Hamas is still fighting strong. But yet, Netanyahu's got right to go in there and just kill everyone because, no. If I didn't know this was biblical, I would be just like everybody. Well, not like everybody, because most everybody, I guess, in this country thinks it's okay for Israel to just go around and kill everybody. But this is not the first time it's happened, but first time Turkey's issued arrest warrants, and plus 26, I don't know, there's 26 other cabinet members of the Israel they've issued warrants for because of the Bulgari, whatever you want to say. It's murder. It's flat out murder. You have a problem with Hamas, you fight Hamas. You don't fight the population of a city. That's like that would be like that would be the same thing as saying, okay, you know what? We got a problem with a few people in Chicago, so the United States government comes in and has the right to nuke the city of Chicago because there's maybe 1,000 people in Chicago that break the law. So they should be able to kill everybody in Chicago because of those 1,000 people. Same crap that's going on in Israel, that's been going on over there in Gaza and Israel. Same crap. But everybody, oh, it's okay for Netanyahu to do. No, it's not. Not in my opinion. I think it's wrong. But he is a servant and he is a vessel of God. As far as I know, he's doing what God is telling him, the Father is telling him to do, because everything needs to be in place for all of this to go down like it needs to go down. Okay? But the flesh parts of me want to say Netanyahu's wrong. But the soul spirit in me tells me, hey, it could be the Father doing this, which I'm pretty sure it is the Father doing it. Same thing with the people with Hamas. With same thing with the people in Iran. Same thing with the people in Russia and Ukraine. This is all the wars and rumors of wars. Now, I think there was one more thing I wanted to touch on this. Oh yeah. Why is Trump asking Israel to give Netanyahu a pardon? And what we're going to actually be talking about in the next slide, I don't know if you call it a slide or whatever, the next slide I'm going to show is because we're no different. The United States, in my opinion, is barbaric. One of the meanest countries on this planet. And let's just go to it. Venezuela. Is Trump's word the law? That's just part of the headline there. Now, I have not fact checked all this, but I have seen several different sources saying that, and this is mainstream news here that I just punched in this. This is mainstream news here, which kind of verifies what I've been learning off outside of the mainstream news, that Trump is not even questioning these people, that the boats that they're blowing up. Okay. Now, from what I've been listening to, none of these boats that they've blown out of the water, and I think their tally's like 72 people they've killed now or something like that. And in one of the reports I was listening to, there was 4 people on the one boat. 2 of them survived. They sent them back to their countries that they were originally from, and I don't remember which countries they were from, but the one country set the one guy free because there was no evidence of him breaking the law. If they didn't have any evidence of him breaking the law, obviously, then our military didn't have any evidence of them breaking the law, and they're only doing what Trump's telling them to do. But Trump tells them to just blow the boats out of the water. As far as we know, they were out there fishing, plain and simple fishing, in a boat that Trump is saying they're bringing drugs to the United States. From my understanding, Venezuela is quite a ways away, it's like 1,200 miles or 1,200, something like that, away from the United States. I might be, don't quote me on that because I'm a high school dropout. I don't do much geography. I don't go studying everything about everything. The only thing I actually pay attention to is the Bible, the King James Bible, and our Father. Other than that, I'm not going to go sit here and try to make all this, try to go out and find all these facts about it. I'm going to tell you what I've listened to, and I've listened to it on several different sources. So, okay, these boats coming from Venezuela are out there in the international, is it international waters or however they say that? Which means we really don't have, when they're in international waters, nobody has jurisdiction over these people. But apparently now the United States has the right to go ahead and just blow people up because someone else, maybe at one time or another, might have taken a boat through there carrying some drugs to some place other than the United States, because from the way I understand it, not one of those boats had the capacity to make a trip from Venezuela for gas purposes, fueling purposes, because I don't know, some of them might run on diesel. I don't know any, I, I, I know the outboard motor boats run on, and the boats we see in the lakes, they will all run on gasoline. I don't know about the big boats. I think they might probably run on diesel. Okay, so we'll just say refueling purposes. But none of those boats had enough fuel to get from Venezuela to the United States. They would have had to stop two or three other spots along the way somewhere to refuel in order to get those drugs up to the United States. Now, from what I've also learned about drug runners and stuff like that, I don't think that's how they do business. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I always thought to be convicted of a crime, you had to be at least found guilty. They didn't even find these guys guilty. They never went and inspected these boats. They never went and talked to the people in the boats. They just seen a boat in the water. Oh, blow it out of the water. Who? Yeah, who are we? If I wasn't from the, oh, well, you know what? I'm in the United States, and I would say if I was on the outside of the United States, I would be talking to all the other countries about ganging up on the United States at once because we're barbaric. But there's reasons. The way I understand it now, I kind of go along with this narrative, and I don't fact check nothing or anything. Okay, I don't know what else I had lit up here. All right, all right. Yeah, this kind of goes along with what I'm thinking. All right, now Russia tested these two missile systems that are nuclear capable, not nuclear tipped or nuclearly armed. But he tested these two new missiles out that the United States has no idea how to make. And both of these tests were successful, which, if I'm not mistaken, puts Russia at 4 or 5 missile systems that the United States does not have. But yet the United States goes around, oh, we're the superpower. We're the baddest of them all. We can kick anybody's butt in the country. No, we can't. 40 years ago, yes, we could. Not today. We are just another small continent on this planet. We've got some war power, but we've got countries out here that have overtaken our power. Russia has, they're saying, on the mainstream news, I did hear that they're saying we got more nuclear weapons than Russia. No, we don't. According to all the paper files, no, Russia has about 1,000, I think it was about 700 more nuclear missiles than we do. But Trump did come out and say, oh, I made sure in my last administration that we had more. Well, if that's the case, then Trump broke the treaty. Well, now, because Russia tested these two things, and my opinion only, okay, I mean, yes, I've heard some other people's opinions, but I have to coincide with it. I have to agree with it because it's like the United States, oh man, we don't got what they got. So when Trump was all for backing up Ukraine and we're going to send tomahawks and blah blah blah, and and then Putin tests these two missiles out, which by the way are not nuclear armed, but capable of being nuclear armed. Okay, he tested these two nuclear missiles out. Trump's like, you know what? I think I need to back off. This is my opinion. This is not, you know, but it's kind of like Trump saying, I need to back off because I cannot beat them. Same thing with all this crap that's been going on in Iran. And I don't know if I had that one lit up next. Yeah, the Iran stuff still going on with Israel. Iran's preparing for major retaliation if Israel goes in again. It's all this other good stuff, And I'm not one of these guys that's going to sit here and try to break all this down. I'm going to listen to what's going on the surface because like I said, I'm going to focus more on the Bible, what the Bible's talking about, and how things are lining up with the scriptures. Wars and rumors of wars, all this stuff's happening. All right. Okay. But in my opinion, we got our asses kicked when we tried to fight Iran. Israel illegally attacked Iran like 2 or 3 times before Iran retaliated against Israel. Okay, do your research on that. Israel did illegally, against international laws, break several laws to get the war going with Iran. Then once they got it going, Israel found out they can't beat Iran. Iran was using their oldest and slowest missiles and was still knocking the living tar out of Israel. So the United States jumps in so they can put a stop or a ceasefire, temporarily, ceasefire on the war because Israel was getting their asses handed to them. Like Iran had been warning them for years. Iran obeyed all of the international laws for war. Let them know we was going in for attack. They let everybody know they were coming in. They're retaliating. Get your stuff ready because we got missiles inbound. They followed all of the laws. Well, put all this together. Why is the United States going after Venezuela, blowing these boats out of the water? Oh, I can't show my power in Russia. Oh, I can't show my power in Iran. What was the other one? Seems like there was something else going on too. Anyway, I can't think of it right now. But now they're going to go pick on the little guy, Venezuela. Whoa, we're going to stop them from running drugs in the United States. Now, from the one report I was listening to on the countries that are listed as dangerous as putting drugs into the United States, Venezuela is 20 on that list. Number 20, one being the highest risk. So we're going to go pick on number 20? What are we trying to do? We're trying to show that we are just a bully in high school, but we're not the biggest bully. We're going to go pick on the littlest guy that we can because we don't want the bigger guys messing with us. But in my opinion, this is what I think's happening. I think we're getting the rest of the country getting ready to say, the rest of the world getting ready to say, United States, you're done. You're out. We're tired of you being the culprit like you are. That's why they've got this BRICS thing going on now. What is it? Britain? No, I don't know if it's Britain. Brazil, Russia, Iran, China, Korea. I don't know if it's North Korea, but they're forming a new monetary system, backed to buy gold, instead of like the United States, backed by air. Now I guess they're gonna give everybody $2,000 more. I heard that the other day that a week or two ago, whatever, but now they're going to give everybody $2,000 more. I mean, it's literally, can you all hear how the love of money is the root of all evil? I believe that's 1 Timothy 3:16 or something like that. It's in one of the Timothys. Money don't mean crap. But okay, we'll give everybody $2,000 and they'll let us just keep killing all these people in Gaza. They'll just keep. They'll let us do. Sounds like they're getting ready to do another genocidal thing over there in Venezuela. Why? It's just, to me, it's just. But yet, I made a video. Can you hear the trumpet now? Let's see here. I think I got that. Can you hear the trumpet sounding? And I talk about this stuff, and it's like nobody gives a darn. And that's what's gotten me to the point. It's just like, then why should I? Why should I sit here and keep trying to do this when nobody gives a shit anyway? Yeah, I cuss. We are all here suffering. You know, I don't play this Christianity church bull crap that I got to be Mr. Goody Two Shoes. You know, oh, you gotta look a certain way. You gotta act. No, you know what? I am a human being suffering just the same as you are. We all carry the same cross. We are all suffering. And I'll be darned if I'm going to walk around with a smile on my face while someone's sticking a 2x4 up my behind. I ain't going to do it. I suffer. I cuss. I have my bad days. I have my rough days. That's just the way this works. You listen to what the scriptures say. Though he suffered, Hebrews 5, though he suffered with crying and tears. Do you think I'm suffering with oh, this is so much fun? No, I'm not suffering around saying it's fun. I am so sick of people listening to their imaginations or Satan instead of listening to the Father. I am the only way to the Father. Read the books off the website, davidofpsalm89.com. All of the books will be free. The ninth one, we're going to be talking about the ninth one, and they got the cover done. We got the cover done. I'll be showing you the cover of the ninth book when we get down here later. Now, let's talk about where the Ark of God is. This is, whoops. Did I skip one? Oh. Oh, I know what that was. I wanted to talk about Luke 17 first. That's right. Luke 17. Now, I told you when I asked you if you wanted me to make a video about the Ark of God, I told you that I'll guarantee you it's not where you think it is. And it's not. And this is what I mean. If people would just stop listening to their imaginations and listen to what we're being told in the Bible, in the King James Bible, if they would just listen to what's being told in the Bible, all of this comes out, makes so much sense, and it's so much simpler to understand. All right. Are you familiar with how we are told the kingdom of God does not come with observation, but it is within you? This is in Luke 17. Luke 17, verses 25 through or 20 through 21. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees, when the king and yeah, I'm reading that right. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees, when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation. Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there. For behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Now, this is where I'm going to talk about a few scriptures. No, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go to John 14:6. I'm just going to do this right here. John 14:6. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, gotta get that, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Now, that's what I was just telling y'all. These books are your only way to the Father. You can go on and keep listening to your imagination, and it ain't gonna do you no good, because nobody's getting to the Father without them seeking Him and what He's about, who He is, what He's doing, why He's doing what He's doing. You're not gonna get there. It's not going to happen. I am the only way to the Father. But now the reason I wanted to bring that up, because I wanted to focus on where it says, I am the life. Now we're going to jump back to Genesis. We're going to go to Genesis 2:7. And I'm doing this on a swirl. I wasn't going to do this earlier, but you know what? Here we go. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. Everybody is part of the one Son of God. Everybody is Jesus. The only difference with me is I'm the one that was chosen by our Father to bring this world an understanding of our Father, who He is, what He's doing, why He's doing what He's doing. And this all started back in 2011, precisely 400 years after the King James Bible was written. And as I pointed out I think it was in the ninth book. Yeah, I think it was in the ninth book, almost 400 years to the day, because it was around the beginning of May of 2011 when he called me. I don't know exactly what day. I know it was toward the beginning of May, but I guess the King James Bible was published like on May 2nd, 1611. So, I mean, it was almost precisely it's almost like 400 years to the day when he called me to the Bible. Or there's 400 years between the Old Testament and New Testament, or 400 years between the Old Testament and time of Jesus, or there's 400 years between the King James Bible and voila, Jesus. Now, I've been in this schooling through the Father, living through these lessons, experiencing these lessons to bring to you all what I bring to you all in these books. So you all can get an understanding of who He is, what He's doing, why He's doing what He's doing, as I have. And hopefully you'll come into agreement with Him as I am. I agree with Him 100. If there was such a thing as higher than 100%, yeah, I would be right up there with Him because He's perfect. And I have been able to see how marvelously perfect He is doing all this. And it is phenomenal. All right. See, what do we want to talk about? Okay. Yeah, we just pointed out that the kingdom of God is within you. Now, you're gonna have to tolerate me reading a little bit, but we're gonna listen to when God gives the instructions of what the ark is supposed to be made of and how it's supposed to look and so forth. Now, I want to make a note on that. I was thinking about this when I was getting this set up in the fourth book, and it's in the third book. I don't remember let me see what, I got to look this up real quick. The rock. In the third book, I called the chapter the rock. But means how I placed the third book, Jesus Christ in the flesh. Okay, once I placed it in the fourth book, right here, Jesus is here. Okay, the chapter the rock is in this book, but now I've modified the name of it. I called it Building Your House on the Rock. Because you are the house of God. I don't care who you are. God, remember, just showed you in Genesis 2:7, breathed life into you. That means He put part of Himself into you, and your body houses Him. That part that He breathed into you. But let's see, what was that was? Yeah, I believe it's in this one. It might be in the third one. Because I don't remember if I added a little bit to the chapter when I was doing it, but I think it's in the third and fourth book. But when I was doing the chapter, Building Your House on the Rock, or The Rock, in the third book, there was part in there, I actually found a spot, and you have to read the book, but I actually think we're being told how the human body is made. But it's made they use different words. And I would literally have to read that chapter again, or that book again, or yeah, that chapter in the book to remember exactly how all that worked out. But I was sitting there listening to it, and as I was writing it in the book, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, you know what? I think we're being told how the human body is made. I think the instructions in there. Okay, now that I just said that, and they say this in a different term. Remember, God is a spirit. John 4, verses 23 and 4. God is a spirit. The hours are coming now is that all true worshipers of God must worship God in the spirit. God is a spirit, and He seeks those to worship Him in spirit and truth. Everything about the King James Bible is spiritual. So when I sit here and tell you about this, I want you to think about how beautiful this would look. Well, how I might even comment on some spots because I was just kind of let me go ahead and start reading this. Where we are in Exodus 25, start from verse 10. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood, 2 cubits. Now, when I say everything spirit, when they say this shittim wood, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. From what I remember of school, 2 consonants following a vowel would make that a short vowel. So it would not sound exactly like an I. It would sound like it'd be a short I. So shittim wood. Now, if I was to say that in Cebuano, it would be shittim wood. Something like that, because the I sounds like an E. But okay. Um, but when it talks about this wood, it's not physical wood. Nothing about the Bible is physical. God is a spirit. Hold on. So everything, and I show you all, he's the one that actually wrote the King James Bible. I've done this in the videos, and I do this in the books. So everything in the Bible is spiritual. Shittim wood is spiritual wood. It's not physical wood. Okay, so, and they shall make an ark of shittim wood, 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And excuse the way I'm going to dice up the words, but I'm going to read this because I'm not going to have. That's why I had the noise on the other one. I was gonna let Bible Gateway read some of the verses instead of me chopping everything up like I do. So I'm pausing on this, but I was going to let Bible Gateway. Well, it heard my computer, my fan in the background. So I just said, screw it. You know what? I'm going to read it and just deal with me chopping it up. All right. And they shall overlay it with pure gold within and without shall not overlay it, and shall make it upon a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt cast 4 rings of gold before it, and put them in the 4 corners thereof, and 2 rings shall be in the one side of it, and 2 rings in the other side of it. And thou shalt make staves of shittim wood, and overlay them with gold. And thou shalt put the staves into the rings of the sides of the ark, that the ark may be borne with. Okay, that threw me. That 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 just threw me for a loop. And thou shalt put the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark, that the ark may be borne with them. Remember, we are to always hear the engrafted word. And what you're getting ready to find out, what I'm going to be showing here, I'm going to show you where the Bible actually tells us where the ark's at. And when I hear this right here, and it says that the ark may be born with them, I'll just go ahead and tell you. All right, the ark of God is within you. It's not a physical place. So when I read this, maybe, and I'm going to show you where it says that, it literally says that in the Bible. Okay, I'm going to show you that here in a minute. But it just freaked me out when I read that the ark may be born with them. So as soon as you're born from your mom's womb, the ark of God is within you. Got to hear the engrafted word. The stave shall be in the rings of the ark. They shall not be taken from it. And they shall put into the ark of the testimony which I shall give thee. And thou shalt Yeah, and thou shalt make a mercy seal of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubims of gold, of beaten work shalt thou make them, into the 2 ends of the mercy seat, and make 1 cherub on the one side, and the other cherub on the other end. Even of the mercy seat shall ye make the cherubims of the 2 ends thereof. Now I'm going to pause there. Okay, the hearts that Jesus flips over in the temple, I'm sorry, the tables that Jesus flips over in the temple, they're in your heart. They're on your heart. Same thing as the altars. Okay, and it just when I was reading that right there, it just made me think about how the tables are on our hearts. Okay, just like the Ark of God, it's all in. It's all within us. Okay, sorry for that. And I show this in this chapter too. In the chapter building my house on the rock, building your house on the rock, or third book, the rock. I think it goes on verse 20. And the cherubim shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat in their wings, and their faces shall look one to another. Toward the mercy seat shall the faces of the cherubim be. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee. And there I will meet with thee, and I will continue with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubims which are upon the ark of the testimony of all things which I will give thee in commandment unto thee, children of Israel. Thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood. Remember, I said the table is on your hearts. The tables that Jesus flips over is on your heart. Thou shalt also make them a table of shittim wood. Two cubits shall be the length thereof, and a cubit of breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half of the height thereof. And thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, and make therein unto a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt make it unto a border of a hand's breadth around about, and thou shalt make it of golden crown to the border thereof round about. Now we go on, we can give more of stuff like this. I think this is when, like in this chapter, I think that's what, yeah, I just want to show you. Just do this. I want to do this. Tables of the heart. Well, okay, it's even in the New Testament, but I know it talks about in the Old Testament too. But 2 Corinthians 3:3, for as much as ye are manifestly declared to be the epistles of Christ ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not with tables of stone, but with the fleshly tables of the heart. The tables are on our hearts that Jesus comes in and flips over. Anyway, I got to get back to where I was. All right, the Ark of God. 2 Samuel chapter 7. And it came to pass when the king sat in his house, and the Lord had given him rest round about from all of his enemies, that the king said unto Nathan the prophet, See now, I dwell in a house of cedar, but the ark of God dwelleth within curtains. All right. Now let's go to Isaiah 40, verse 22. And yes, I could show more biblical witnesses that there's like two or three spots that it actually says the Ark of God dwells within curtains. But I do believe this is the only time this is specifically said. Isaiah 40, verse 22. Remember how I showed you God breathed life into you. That means God is inside of every person on this planet that's ever been on this planet that will ever be on this planet. God the Father has part of himself into each and every one of us. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. Now, when it talks about the tent in that chapter, building your house on the rock, for short, sorry, that building your house on a rock is showing up here on the screen. Okay. Um, those tents, I talk about those tents. I wear fringes. You probably haven't, if you're new to my channel, you haven't watched this, I'll stand up if you can see it. I wear these fringes. These fringes right here that I wear on my four corners of my garments, we are told to make in Numbers and I think it's in Numbers and Deuteronomy. Or is it? There's two spots in the books of Moses that we're told to make fringes for our corners. And in that chapter, I actually show you all how there is a spiritual tent built around us all the time. And I experienced this myself years ago. I had taken my fringes off for a couple weeks. Oh my gosh. I mean, just like everything seemed to go wrong. No harm to me. I didn't do nothing happened where I harmed others, but my mood was always foul. I mean, just everything just. But I show you in this chapter, these fringes are like a lock for the door on that tent. And when I take these fringes off, if I was to take these fringes off, it opens up that door and allows evil spirits to follow me in. Come get me. It's not physical spirits, but it's moods. So that's why I wear my fringes. And I tell you all in that book, I actually realized that as I was writing the book, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" It hit me like a ton of bricks. And I know it'd been 6, 8, maybe even a year before I was writing that book. I had went through like a 2 or 3 week temper tantrum where I took my fringes off. I told God, "I'm not doing this no more. I don't want to do it anymore." Remember, I'm here to. I've suffered through. I'm suffering. I've had my temper tantrums. I've thrown my fists, and I've told the Father so many times, I quit. I don't want to do this no more, and so forth. But I took my fringes off for a while, and when I was writing that, I was like, I realized, I remembered when I put the fringes back on, my mood got better almost instantaneously. And that's why I won't take them off again. No, I don't sleep with them on. But they're on my jeans, and I'm always wearing jeans. Now, when I go down to the other country and it's 80 degrees out, I'll be swimming in December. So no, I'm not wearing my jeans there. but but I won't be wearing them then because I won't poke holes in my shorts. I wear these on my belt loops. But the Bible explicitly tells us to make us fringes. Wear them on the four corners of our garments so that we will remember that we will obey the commandments of God and not of man. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not saying it exactly like it is. Okay? But that's what that's about. Okay? The Ark of God is within you. The reason I wanted to read the instructions like we did, I went scripture surfing there, so I'd have to scroll back to get back to Exodus 25. But I wanted you to understand of how beautiful it sounds. Okay, when we listen to the instructions, it sounds like it'd be something even, I can't use the big immaculate. It would be something beautiful. Okay, but when we actually get to understand the Father, we realize how beautiful everything that He's been doing, has done, and is doing is so beautiful, so peaceful, and so enlightening. I mean, it's just when you start to really get to understand who he is, I mean, it's just everything gets. No, don't get me wrong. I still have my bad days, but I know he's working inside of me to help me finish getting through this because I ain't gonna lie, I've been getting real nervous here lately because, yeah, I think things are getting ready to get real nasty real quick. Uh, but it's just. Anyway, all right, let's talk about the ninth book. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm excited about it. They've got the cover done, and as you can see, I just took a picture of the website. I had them do a picture of the website. Here's the name of it: Precept 9: The Life and Betrayal of Jesus. Written by. This is why I know this is the last book. Written by Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. I am the only way to the Father, guys. That's why you all don't have to pay for none of these books if you don't want to. Yes, they're available on Amazon, because I had to go through the publishers, and that's the way they do it. That's the way they make their money, and blah, 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 blah. All right, but every one of them are available. The ninth book will also be available on the website when it's completed. Anyway, I wanted to read to you the back of the book. All right, this is a book that will cover the life of Jesus for me since the time I was spiritually in the belly of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights, starting on Good Friday, March 28, 1986. This book will show how I got betrayed by Judas and will be showing what the hand of God is and how anyone can grab his hand mentally, spiritually, morally, and physically. We will be showing how what many think love is not a love for others, but only a love for themselves. And of course, we will be showing what true love really looks like. And we will be showing how I have had to live through and experience all of the lessons that our Father has had me learn. Then down here in the bottom half of that, it's pretty much just same stuff I say in a lot of the books. I am just a simple and educated man that is not better than anyone else. I wasn't called to the Bible until 2011. Since then, being the foolishness of the world, our Father has had me go through many hard things in the King James Bible so that I could give the world an understanding of who he is, what he is doing, and why he is doing what he is doing. To do this, he has had me live through and experience everything that he has taught me, and I try to share all of this knowledge to the world through the 9 books that he has had me write. As you can see, it's just a picture of a website, obviously with me, and I'm sure it's him inside of me. He's the one that told me how to do the title of the book. Just a heads up. Yeah, this true love in the 9th book has everything to do with my daughter. And, well, it goes on to more than that in the last chapter. The last chapter in the book is called True Love. And that doesn't have a whole lot to do with my daughter, but that you will have to read that. The betrayal. This betrayal doesn't happen exactly like I show you all in the other books. Nothing happens exactly as it's written in the books. Okay? Uh, but this betrayal, when I got betrayed like this woman in the Philippines, and nope, I'm not going over there to see her when I go back over there. But this woman in the Philippines made me think for 2.5 years that she was a single mom struggling to make ends meet. And all and behold, long story short, she was married to a guy a year before she even started talking to me. And but she lured me, she kept me thinking that she was single so she could get more money out of me because I don't have problems helping couples out. I would have helped them out, but they both thought and acted upon if we make him think that I'm a single mom struggling, he'll be more apt to give me more money. That was the betrayal. Uh, that's just a long story short. You have to read the book to find out about it. But when you read the scriptures, Jesus was betrayed for 30 shekels of silver. Okay? Well, yeah, I was betrayed for money, for the love of money. The love of money is the root of all evil. Okay, and like I said, you'll have to read the book in order to get to understand it. This one's a lot shorter than the rest. When I was writing it, I actually, when I was working on the first chapter of it, and I was doing my exercise, doing for a walk, and I was out for a walk, and the father's, and that was the day that he had a servant call me and tell me I was misunderstanding because I was going like the rest of the books. I was putting a lot of details into it. And the father, through the servant, told me I was misunderstanding something and and I explained this misunderstanding in the book. Okay. But he was trying to tell me, hey, you ain't got time to make this law. You need to get this book done ASAP. So Then we just kind of shortened up the explanations. We kind of go through my life, since I was 16 in the belly of, in the belly of the earth, 3 days and 3 nights, in a coma. We go through all that, but then I just started kind of rushing through it. And so this book's only 53,000 words, and I'm waiting for them to get the layout design done so they can send it back to me so I can do the one round of corrections that I'm going to do in it. And I'm doing the one round of corrections, which that shouldn't take more than a week or two. Then it'll be ready to print. So I'm hoping to have it done. Could it be done by the end of the year? I'm not sure. I don't know. Um, but I do know I'm done. I'm done writing because I'm losing the will to do this anymore. Let me be, as I told the Father, countless times. Let me be as Noah, Job, and Daniel. Let me save my own soul. If you all don't want to listen, so be it. I'm done with it. I don't care anymore. I'm not going to sit here and lose any sleep over it. I'm not going to cry. I don't care anymore. Why should I? I'm done with it. So, yes, when I go over there, that's when other things that you think Jesus did, that's going to be happening to me. Think about all the times he goes from one piece of the land to another piece of the land. They got 76,000, 7,600, over 7,600 islands there. I'll be doing a lot of traveling by boat over there. Here we go. And I expect it to be happening here. Well, yeah. Well, I'm not even going to talk about that anymore. All right, guys. I've made this long enough. I'm sure there's one of you that's going to make it to the end, but I wasn't even really in the mood for this, and I just told the caller, sorry, you know what, I'll go ahead and do it. And a lot of it has to do with I'm tired of repeating myself. I don't feel like anybody really cares. There's no inner reaction. I can talk to my windshield all day long when I'm driving, which to me is not much different than what it is when I'm talking to the computer because yeah, I get a few comments. Most of the time when I get comments, they're negative. Here since the coast to coast revealing, yeah, I've got some people that are actually paying attention, and I appreciate that. But I also realize I'm not the narrator of our salvation. I am the author of our salvation. I can sit here and talk to you on these videos all day long, but you're not going to understand it until you read the books. Because when you read the books, the way the Father explained it to me, when you all read the books, you all get to go through the lessons with me, which in a spiritual way gets you to experience the lessons as I experienced the lessons, but you don't have to go through all the suffering that I had to go through to learn what I did. That's why I'm the only way to the Father, because you all don't have the next 10, 15 years to listen to the Bible 150 times to get the understanding that I have. That's what the books are for. That's why I've written the books for you all to read. That's why they're all free of charge. And I forgot to say it at the beginning of the video. Share the video. Give it a thumbs up. It don't cost you anything. Share these videos. I don't know when I go over to the Philippines if I'm going to be making videos over there. I'm sure I'm going to be making a few. But, they have different internet over there. Yeah, I remember the last time I was there, my phone would work, but I don't know how much I can use it over there without jacking my phone bill up to $1,000. There's so many minutes or whatever that I'm allowed over there. I don't know how much I can use it over there. I'm staying in a motel. They have internet. Yeah, I'll be using free internet, but I'll also be doing other things. I'm not just going to sit around in the motel the whole time I'm there. So I don't know. It's kind of a vacation, I think. But I want to do some fun things while I'm there at the same time. So I don't know if I'm going to be making videos. I know I probably won't be making many more videos before I go because that's less than 2 weeks away. Uh, I'm just not up for making the videos like I used to be. And I know that my channel used to have a bunch more, and one of my temper tantrums, I threw a bunch of them away that I made before I was pulled. I made within the years I was still trying to obey the laws of Moses. The books explain all this. And that's what I mean. I get on these videos and I'm just talking about a lot of stuff that I've already talked about it. I've talked about it in previous videos, or I talked about it in the books that I've written, except the ninth book. But the ninth book, I'm not going to talk that much in depth about it until it's available on, and on the website. Uh, just because it's the ninth book. I'm not going to put the manuscript that I sent to them up on my website because they're the ones that manage my website. They're the ones that's going to put the published manuscript up on the website. That's why I have them do it. Yes, the books go to Amazon and a few other major book retailers, but then I put the manuscript on the website so you all don't have to pay for it. All right, guys, I've made this long enough, I think. Give me some comments. Ask me some questions. What would you all like me to teach about? And see, this is what I mean. You know, I have no inner reaction. So I gotta, yes, this one here tonight, I wanted to talk about a few other things, but I actually had someone tell me by putting 777 in the video that they would like me to do a video on where the Ark of God is. And I could have made it a 10, 15-minute video. I could have. Uh, but I think I'm wanting you all to comment. I want you all to ask me questions. Tell me what you want me to do something. If there's nothing, zero, not one thing in the Bible I cannot explain to you. King James, nothing. But be ready because when you ask me something, I'm going to show you how it connects with several different areas of the Bible. That's the way it works. I want you all to ask me, let me know what you want me to teach. I need to know. Give me a reason to want to make these videos because right now I don't see it. That's what I need. I need a reason to want to make these videos. So let me know what you want me to teach about. I can teach about anything and everything. All right? All right, we've made this long enough, guys. I'm out.